Hello, and thank you for tuning into this week's Mayor's Update. As always, we have a lot of important information to share with you here this week, so please feel free to share this video with your friends, family, relatives, and anyone else who you think may find this information helpful over the course of the coming week. We're going to start off by talking about our different paving and construction projects here in the city. Crews are still working at the Uptown Rotary, and over the course of the coming week will continue their work on Elm Street and Pearl Street. They have concluded all of their work on Central Street and in front of the Rotary itself. However, we are going about 200 feet in on both Elm Street and Pearl Street so that we can work away from the Rotary at this time. So please do plan to add some extra time to your morning commute if you do travel through that area. Please do that also if you are traveling on the other end of Pearl Street by the Route 140-101 intersection. Crews this past week did go through that intersection with the new water main line, and while we believe they will be completely out of the intersection by the time Monday comes around, we do want to make sure that in the event that they aren't able to finish the intersection work by the time Monday comes around, that residents are aware that if you're traveling through that area, please feel free to add some extra time to your commute in the morning to make sure that you're able to navigate through that area. There are detail officers there to help traffic move through the area. However, it is moving at a slower pace because rather than using the traffic lights, they are using the police officers to direct the traffic. And with the amount of equipment there, it's just slower than usual. So please keep that in mind as you start planning your weekly commute next week. After the crews are done going through the Route 140-101 intersection, they're actually going to continue all the way down to Smith Street on Pearl Street by Dunn Park. Some of you may remember in previous updates, we've talked about how we were going to stop at Chapel Street. However, we did have extra funding left over in the budget because the bids did come in lower than expected. So we are going to continue with that new water main line all the way down to Smith Street from the Route 140-101 intersection. I also do want to note that this Pearl Street project is the only water main project in the city that does not include curb-to-curb paving. It'll just have a trench on top of that. And the reason for that is in all of our other areas, this is the payment is coming out of a loan that was taken out of the water enterprise account. And money from the water enterprise account, and that's the account that takes in all of the water bill money that's turned in by residents here in the city of Gardner, can only be used for water-related purposes. Now, if we're replacing the water lines under the street, you can relate the new pavement on top of the street to the work that was done for the water enterprise system. So that's why we were able to do that in the other places in the city. However, Pearl Street is a much, much wider street than Parker Street or some of the other smaller streets in the city like Robillard Street, that it would be a much harder case to justify us doing a full repavement of Pearl Street with water money when the trench only covers about 2 to 3 foot length of area in the width of the street. So we aren't able to do that there. It'll just be a trench in that area. However, all of the other areas in the city that are having water work done will have curb-to-curb pavement. Crews are also going to be in the Robillard and Douglas Road section of the city with the water main project. The goal in that area of the city is to have all of Robillard, Douglas, Draper, Foss, and the other streets in that area taken care of as part of the water main project with new water main lines and curb-to-curb paving in that area. We're also evaluating to see if we have extra funding city side to be able to redo the sidewalks in that area as well. So all of that information is forthcoming or in the works, and we will be sure to let you know that as soon as possible. On our regular paving projects here in the city next week, Ashley Drive, Chapman Park, Bear Hill Road, and Leo Drive will all see different construction work being done in the area. The schedule was adjusted this past week, and the top part of Leo Drive at the hill was paved quicker than the rest of it because we knew we had some rain coming and we didn't want all of the dirt to wash out in the area there. So we covered that with the asphalt first, and then we'll go back and we'll finish the rest of the areas in those locations this coming week. So if you do live in those areas, also do please keep that in mind as you're traveling from your house to your different places that you're commuting to throughout the week. This past Thursday at the Gardner Senior Center, we had our second Bagel with a Badge program. That's similar to our Coffee with a Cop or Pool Party with the Police. It's just a way for the police to get out into the community and answer questions that residents in the community have. It's an open Q&A forum, and then we do provide the meals that go with it through a grant that we receive. So the bagels, the donuts, the coffee, anything that comes up like that, we will provide the food for. So again, we had that as our second iteration before the Gardner Senior Center's bread raffle at 11 o'clock this past Thursday. I also do want to thank Dr. Christopher Moqueen for being our bread raffle guest caller this past week. As we said last time, we're going to try to get a different person from around the city as the bread caller. So thank you to Dr. Moqueen, son of Dr. John Moqueen, for coming out and taking care of that with us and getting involved in the community that way as well. And thank you very much to Lieutenant Nick Maroney and Officer John Lawrence, our school resource officer, who came out and participated in that Bagel with a Badge event. Several questions were asked by the 30 or so members of the public that were there to ask questions, and that is something we are hoping to get on a regular schedule, both at the Senior Center and at other different places throughout the city as well. We want to remind people that the Haywood Hospital Ride for Your Life event is taking place this coming weekend on Sunday. The race will start at Haywood Hospital this year instead of its usual start at Monty Tech, and will go throughout the city as well. So registration will take place on Sunday morning. Please keep an eye out on Haywood Hospital's website for further information on that event. But if you're seeing the motorcycles out and about on Sunday morning this week in the city, that's what that event is for. This past week, Dr. Pellegrino announced that the Back to School Festival has been canceled for this year. The reason being for that is while there is an uptick in the number of COVID cases here in the city of Gardner, the school department wanted to make sure that no student had an exposure to COVID at the Back to School Festival that would then cause us to have to start trying to figure out remote lessons and quarantines before school even started. So school is going to start on its regular date, August 25th for teachers and staff, August 30th for the students. And will continue as planned. Dr. Pellegrino also did announce that he has decided that students will go back to school in masks to start the school year. The state did mandate masks completely without an option for any student grade 6 and under, and it was local option for grades 7 through 12. And Dr. Pellegrino decided to go with a uniform decision for the school district as we start the school year, and we will evaluate that as we go through. The school committee is not meeting until September, so that decision did have to be made by the superintendent of schools for now and will be evaluated by the school committee at a later date after school starts. With that said, the Board of Health did ask me to just give a brief reminder that our cases are ticking up here in the city of Gardner, and we are seeing a couple cases of the Delta variant here. Please do keep an eye out for Haywood Hospital social media sites, as their president and CEO, Wynn Brown, also does a weekly update video in which he goes through the different COVID cases that they are experiencing over there at Haywood Hospital and does provide some information as well. But please do just make sure you're staying vigilant and following the best practices that we've learned over the course of the pandemic. Gardner is a little bit higher than the state average right now, which is something that we don't like to see, but we're hoping we can curve so that we can keep things normal and open and not have to go back with what we saw in the past year. So please do make sure you're doing your part to help others stay vigilant. You don't want to be the reason why someone else gets sick if they don't have to, like we've said from the start. Just make sure you're doing everything you can, washing your hands when you're able to, or using hand sanitizer if you're not able to fully wash your hands. And just be mindful of what other people are going through, because you may not understand the medical implications that someone else is going through if you see them out in public with a mask, even though they don't have to be. But just keep that in mind. And again, the Board of Health just asked me to mention that here in this video. But that concludes this week's Mayor's Update. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns on anything that was mentioned here in the video, you can always feel free to contact my office at any time. And until we speak again next week, I hope you have a great day. Thank you very much, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.